The mutants of Jurassic World Rebirth were a brand new species added into the Jurassic franchise. In the movie, we got to see the Distortus Rex and the Mutadon. But what if I were to tell you that there were actually some other mutants that also appeared in the movie that you may have just missed in the background? Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new Jurassic World Rebirth video. In today's video we're going to be discussing the mutants and trying our very best to explain what a mutant dinosaur is and every single individual species that appeared in the movie. Firstly, I do want to apologize for not having a video up yesterday. Unfortunately, when I went to record, I actually ended up collapsing. I felt really lightheaded and dizzy, and suddenly I woke up an hour and a half later, felt really sick, but then I saw my club win the Club World Cup, which was absolutely insane to even say. So I had a very eventful night. Didn't feel well, but I saw one of the most joyous occasions I've ever seen in my life. So it was a very strange night, but we're here nonetheless, and I feel a little bit better now to bring you this video. Fortunately, this is the second time I'm recording this video because the first time, for some reason, decided not to record any audio. But anyways, we're discussing the mutant dinosaurs in Jurassic World Rebirth and trying to explain them all. In this video, we'll try to explain what a mutant dinosaur is, and then we'll explain every single individual mutant that appeared in the movie. So if you're excited to learn more about this franchise, then go ahead and leave a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe for your daily dose of Jurassic content here on YouTube. But for now, let's get into the mutants explained in Jurassic World Rebirth. So the mutant dinosaurs, ugly looking things. These guys appeared in Jurassic World Rebirth for the very first time. And the ones that stole the headlines were of course the Distortus Rex and the Mutadon. Two species that actually had a decent enough screen time in the movie. But what exactly is a mutant dinosaur? Well, a mutant is a brand new category added to the Jurassic franchise. I've made a previous video discussing the differences between GMOs, GMCs, pure breeds, hybrids, and so on. So if you're one of those people that go ahead and basically say, technically all dinosaurs are hybrids, you're wrong. You're wrong. I highly recommend to go and check out my previous video discussing the differences. But in those categories, we now have mutants added into them. So what exactly is a mutant dinosaur? A mutant dinosaur is obviously a failed dinosaur, one that you intend to create a species, but then it just ends up very deformed and isn't really supposed to be alive. Now, Jurassic World Rebirth does retcon a few things, and we'll go into that in a separate video, hopefully later this week, more specifically retconning the ideas of mutants. But to explain exactly what these specific mutants are in Jurassic World Rebirth, we need to use the Distortus Rex as the best example. So to explain both mutants and the Distortus Rex, the opening sequence of Jurassic World Rebirth takes place 17 years earlier. Since we know Rebirth takes place in the summer of 2028, we know that the opening sequence takes place in 2011, which means that the Distortus Rex has possibly been alive since 2010. But why not earlier? Well, that's because we have the Scorpius Rex, the world's first successful hybrid dinosaur ever made in the timeline. This was born in April of 2009. So whilst the Distortus Rex could be born on the latter stage of 2009, we still need enough time to make the egg and make it be born. So therefore it's safe to say 2010. But what exactly is the Distortus Rex? Well, it's actually a failed Tyrannosaurus Rex. This was discussed via multiple articles with Gareth Edwards, and essentially that's how we found out exactly what the Distortus Rex is. But even just looking at its appearance, you can see the front limbs with the two claws, you can see on its jawbone there's a circle pattern, which is also in Rebirth's Tyrannosaurus Rex as well. And not only that, but if you hear very carefully throughout the movie, you do hear a distinctive Tyrannosaurus Rex roar every time the Distortus Rex decides to roar. So it is safe to say that the Distortus Rex is a failed Tyrannosaurus Rex. It just doesn't look good, it's a beluga looking thing. But what if it was actually something more than just a failed Tyrannosaurus? So earlier I discussed the timeline and how it should only be born in 2010 because of the hybrid program that was going on. Well, that's because the Distortus Rex may actually be a failed Indominus Rex instead. Since we know the Scorpius Rex was born in 2009 and the Distortus in or around 2010, we also know that the Indominus Rex was born in 2012. So the Distortus Rex is smack bang in the middle between the Indominus Rex and the Scorpius Rex. But furthermore, there are some interesting quotes throughout the movie that confirm and solidify that these were supposed to be hybrid dinosaurs. Martin Krebs in Jurassic World Rebirth goes ahead and explains how the theme park owners were only trying to experiment to keep up with demand of what the public wanted.
What kind of experiments?
Crossbreeding of species, engineered entertainments they call them.
After all, in Jurassic World, we found out that the public just say, "Oh wow, dinosaurs," and they've kind of gotten used to it. That's why they wanted to create hybrids. And when we got some more exposition by Martin Krebs in the movie, he essentially refers to the Distortus Rex as one of those failed creations, aka a hybrid dinosaur. But if you do listen very carefully now, trust me, I've watched this movie 14 times, at the start of the movie you can actually hear some lab workers talk about the hybrids. And I think specifically the quote is, "We keep testing until the hybrid folds," aka dies. So to me it's very clear that these mutant dinosaurs aren't just failed dinosaurs, but failed hybrid dinosaurs. And we also get to see that with the next one on this list, the Mutadon. The Mutadon is a failed experiment, although it seems very fine in the movie, between a velociraptor and also a flying reptile. Now initially we were told it's a mix between raptor and pteranodon, but after the fact that we see the wings look more like a Quetzalcoatlus wing, that's with the pattern and skin color, and we also get to see a Quetzalcoatlus being worked on the lab tables, I think it is safe to say that this Mutadon is actually a mix between the Velociraptor and the Quetzalcoatlus. So to define exactly what these mutants specifically are in the Jurassic franchise, at that point in time they are actually failed hybrid dinosaurs. But the whole term of mutant is very vague and very open, so we can just say failed dinosaur experiments. So hopefully that's explained what a mutant is, what the Distortus Rex was supposed to be, and what the Mutadon is. But what about the other 6 creatures that I haven't actually mentioned just yet? Well, throughout the movie, if you do look in the background, there are some hidden details and some hidden embryos of failed experiments for mutant dinosaurs as well. So let's identify them and break them down. The very first one we see quite often is a 2-headed Triceratops. Now what essentially this means is that it's probably one of the earlier testings for possibly a hybrid dinosaur involving Triceratops DNA. And once they failed to create such a thing, the 2 heads of the Triceratops ended up popping up. So we do have a 2-headed Triceratops there as well. But we also have a 2-headed Velociraptor. Now I know some people are going to rush to the comments and say, "Swerve, the 2-headed Velociraptor was only in trailer 1. That's true, you don't actually get to see it in the movie, unless you watch the movie in Screen X format. Screen X essentially gives you one screen to watch the movie, but then 2 other screens on the side with an expanded aspect ratio to show you even more. For some reason, when you watch Screen X, off to the side, you can actually see the 2-headed Velociraptor as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, the 2-headed Velociraptor is canonical. It wasn't just there edited to make it look like it was supposed to be a 2-headed Mutadon that also eventually appeared in the movie. The 2-headed Velociraptor actually exists. And since we know that the Mutadon is version 5.11, I believe, I have reason to believe that this 2-headed Velociraptor is actually one of the very first attempts at creating the Mutadon. But what about the 4 other things? Well, in one of the shots for Jurassic World Rebirth's trailer, you get to see Dr. Henry Loomis go face to face and very close up with some failed embryo. Now this is one of the coolest shots in the trailer, so I was very upset to see that it wasn't actually in the final cut of the movie, but in the background you can barely see these same containers being used. But it's very hard to make out exactly what they were when watching the movie. But now, thanks to some behind the scenes photos, we get to see what were in those test tubes. Here is the image on screen. 4 weird looking things, so let's try to break them down. The one on the left, we have a frog-looking creature. Now, of course, since we do know that these dinosaurs require frog DNA to be born, maybe this creature actually had a bit too much frog DNA and basically just took after the form of a frog. But may I remind you that there is actually a creature called the Anoranathus. This creature only really appears in one scene with the Quetzalcoatlus battle, but for some reason it's being marketed very heavily, and we even have a full body render of this creature as well. And when you look at the face and you look at the eyes of this failed embryo right here, they do look remarkably similar, so I have reason to believe that this may have been a failed mutant of the Anoranathus. The one next to it, however, has a large bulbous head once more. What exactly could this be? Well, I think this is one of the early stages of the Distortus Rex. It's very hard to work out exactly what it might be, but judging by the way that the skull is shaped, the head deformity, and the way that the eyes are very caved in, it looks very similar to a baby format of the Distortus Rex. So that's what the second embryo is. The third embryo, however, gets even more interesting. This is clearly a sauropod of some kind. I believe this to be a Brachiosaurus, but some eagle-eyed viewers might notice that there's actually a second head there as well. So this may actually be a very weird embryo that showcases two heads of the Brachiosaurus. Now equally it could just be Argentinosaurus, since I don't think there is any confirmed Brachiosaurus population on Ile Saint-Hubert, but at the same time it's a sauropod nonetheless with two heads, which honestly I kind of would like to see in a live action movie someday, fully grown. I want to know how that would turn out. Either way, it's still very weird and very upsetting to look at the same time. But the fourth and final one, that's very hard to work out. That's certainly filled with deformities. I don't even know where to begin to identify what this is. You can see a snout, you can see where the two eyes are supposed to be, you can kind of see some feet there as well and some 3 claws. Maybe this is a Spinosaurus? I don't know. It's very hard to work out, but that is a fourth mutant there, a failed experiment if you may. So to recap things, we have these 4 weird looking things that have basically just failed mutants. We have the 2-headed Mutadon, the 2-headed Velociraptor and the 2-headed Triceratops, as well as the Mutadon itself, and also the big one, the bad one, the Distortus Rex. And basically these mutants specifically are failed hybrid dinosaurs, or hybrid experiments for Jurassic World. We'll get into a theory that I've come up with very recently. It's actually a really good theory the more I think about it. I'm very excited to talk about it. But we'll discuss that later in another video. But yes, these mutants, specifically in Jurassic World Rebirth, are actually failed hybrid dinosaurs. The term mutant, however, is a little bit more vague, and essentially we can just call them as failed experiments or failed dinosaurs. But the ones specifically shown in Jurassic World Rebirth are in fact failed hybrid dinosaurs. So hopefully in this video I educated you on exactly what a mutant dinosaur is in Jurassic World Rebirth and exactly what it means for the wider world. I kind of tried my best to explain every single species because it's still very hard considering we have a new crew working on the movie that unfortunately aren't intact with the fans as the previous ones were working on the Jurassic World trilogy. So as time goes on we'll probably get explanations and more official definitions of what exactly they are, but this is the best way to explain the mutants in Jurassic World Rebirth. If you enjoyed today's video, then go ahead and leave a like on the video please, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Feel free to let your thoughts be known in the comments below, but if you have no thoughts then just comment a dinosaur emoji for the sake of engagement. But most importantly, make sure you're all staying safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Hey, did you enjoy the video? Well, why not leave a like and subscribe for more Jurassic content? I appreciate every single one of you for reaching this point into the video and supporting me this far. If you wish to support me even further, then feel free to head on down to the description where you can find links to donate, my Patreon, and you can also press that join button to become a member here on YouTube and gain access to some awesome emojis. A massive thank you to all of the YouTube members for this month, as well as the amazing fans over on Patreon too. Your extra bit of support really goes a long way. But for now, I wish you a great rest of your day.